now listen to a message from Ms. Dulce Saret, the National Millennium Development Goals campaigner and advocacy specialist.
Good morning, everyone. Are you all lined up for the next 2 days? Okay, first of all, allow me to thank the Philippine University for hosting this event, Dr. Ferdinando, for her able leadership ever since we started the campaign, even with the Department of Education, Dr. Arias, my colleague from the UN, Akiko Abe, and debaters, representatives from our university, state colleges and universities in Metro Manila, and hopefully we can make this a nationwide and probably a regional competition. It is entirely fitting that we are conducting this event here at the Philippine Normal University, the National Center for Teacher Education, because because I used to be an educator myself, one of my favorite MDGs is MDG 2, Universal Primary Education. And sadly, it is also the MDG which is critical, which the Philippines may not be able to achieve by 2015 if we continue with the pace that we are in right now. Current statistics, Dr. Hidalgo mentioned the launching of the progress report of the Millennium Development Goals 2 weeks ago. And the statistics haven't changed. 5 million children of school age are not in school. So every one of you are all lucky. You are studying in state universities and colleges. I'm also a product of a state university. And we are all lucky to have reached tertiary education. Many of our fellow Filipinos children, our children are not in school because they are forced to work. Young as they are, these are elementary students. We're not even talking about high school. They are forced to work. Some of them have to stay home to take care of another sibling. And some of them just don't have the money to travel to school or don't even have the money to buy a chinelas. That's the sad part of the MDGs here in the Philippines. But I talk about a fitting, this event being entirely fitting today also. Because today, September 20, in fact, September 20 to 22, something big is going to happen at the United Nations in New York, starting tonight. Tonight because that's New York time. In New York, September 20 will be tonight here in the Philippines. Our President Benigno Aquino III, will be joining, as Professor Douglas mentioned, will be joining 191 world leaders for the MDG Summit in New York to take stock of the last 10 years. How have we fared in the last 10 years? What are the lessons learned in the last 10 years? And looking at those last 10 years, how do we scale up? How do we ensure that those 5 million children out of school are actually in school and actually finish at least elementary education? But elementary education, MDG 2, is not the only problematic MDG in the Philippines. MDG number 1, I hope you've all done your homework and you know these statistics that I'm talking about. MDG 1, on eradicating extreme poverty and hunger. 33% of Filipinos live below 45 pesos a day. Can you survive on 45 pesos? How much do you spend to get here? To have your breakfast, and then you took a ride to but sadly, 27 million families cannot even have 45 pesos to spend on a daily basis. And then of course there's MDG 2 on achieving universal primary education. Another sad MDG, which shouldn't be happening in this modern age of medicine, is MDG 5 on improving maternal health. Because 11 mothers continue to die every day due to pregnancy-related causes. Nobody should die while giving life. I come from a big family. I'm the seventh in my family. And I'm the youngest. So my mom now is 77 years old. But we're all alive. So she started giving birth in the 1950s. 1955, my eldest brother was born. But my mom, we're not a rich family, but she survived. She's alive. She's 77 years old and she's strong. She doesn't look 77 at all. But many of our countrymen are not as lucky as my mom or probably your moms who are still around. Many of our fellow Filipinos, mothers, die of pregnancy-related causes. The sad part is many of these deaths occur among 15 to 24-year-olds, just like you, because they resort to abortion. And half of the million pregnancies that are a result of abortion and fatally. So every year, 4,000 women die because of pregnancy-related complications, because there's no reproductive health services available to them, because they do not know how to care for their bodies, because they do not know their rights. It's sad. Another MDG, which is targeting your age group, combating HIV and AIDS, MDG number 6. Last year, the Department of Health records have shown that 2 cases were reported every day. 2 cases of HIV infections every day. These are the reported cases. But the unreported cases, we don't know how many they are. Today, current statistics, 5 cases per day. These should not be acceptable. These things should not be happening, because the Millennium Development Goals are a commitment that were signed by our world leaders on behalf of their people. So these 2 days events are entirely fitting because this is a start, a step in the right direction to raise the level of awareness of the MDGs, and for you students and future leaders to become champions to ensure that the MDGs are achieved in the Philippines within the next 5 years. Because the MDGs are for you. Who will be benefiting from the fruits of the MDGs but you and your children? Wouldn't it be nice to live in a place where people are not deprived of their basic rights to life, to decent living conditions, to health, to education, to a place where the fireflies lighted? Do you know why? Do you know why the Firefly Brigade? Do you know the Firefly Brigade, the group of bikers? Do you know why they are called Firefly Brigade? Because fireflies appear when the environment is clear. How many of you have seen fireflies lately? Have you ever seen fireflies anyway? Have anybody ever seen a firefly? I mean, a real one. Good for you. At least you've seen fireflies, or at least you, at some point in your life's environment was clean. So we all look forward to that day, to the return of the fireflies. So I look forward to hearing your thoughts on these very important Millennium Development Goals. And my challenge to you students and fellow students from state colleges and universities is to be the voice against poverty. Let this not end here. September 20 to 22, these are very important dates. That's why we're doing your debate on these dates. So I urge you all, when you return to your respective schools, start this huge campaign, be part of this huge campaign to eradicate extreme poverty by 2015. Be the voice against poverty. Maraming salamat.
Thank you, Ms. Dulce, for the hard facts that help us